Hi, I'm Jason, and welcome back to Community Design Review, where we pray to God every week that you'll stop upvoting egregiously unplayable rares with minorly inspiring flavor text. For our meme of the week, we have Self-Balancing Golem. It's 3 mana for an artifact creature, ***. Self-Balancing Golem's power and toughness are each equal to 10 minus its USD price on Scryfall, rounded up. When first printed, all cards start at, say, $0, which would mean Self-Balancing Golem would be a 10/10 for 3 mana. That's going to be really powerful in Limited, Standard, Commander maybe, and probably a lot of other formats. Which means it's going to jump up in price. I would say at least $10. But if it's $10, then that means that this card would be a 0/0 for 3 mana, and that's absolutely garbage. But a 0/0 for 3 mana is probably fringe playable in some janky decks, so then this card's cost would probably be about 25 cents. Round up makes it 1, so this would actually then be a 9/9, which is quite good, though not as good as it was when it was first printed, so the cost would probably go up accordingly, but not too much, and you kind of get the picture. For number 5 this week, we have End of an Era. 3 white for a sorcery, exile all token creatures, destroy all non-token, non-legendary creatures, and each legendary creature becomes an enchantment and loses all other types. I think this is a cool concept, but it's not really as clean as I would like it to be. I'm not really sure why there's a distinction between token creatures and non-token creatures here, so I think you could probably make those one line. And if you switch the order of the legendaries becoming immortalized as enchantments and the destroy all creatures, I think you could also make it so that you don't need to say non-legendary creatures. Here's the wording I think would make the most sense for this card. If you use it right, this can be kind of like an Urza's Ruinous Blast, but you get to keep your legendary creatures as enchantments, making it so that they're less likely to die. So really cool design here. Number 4 this week, we have Tavern Brawl. Red-green hybrid mana for a sorcery. Target creature you control fights another target creature. Then any other player may pay 2 to cast a copy of Tavern Brawl. They choose new targets for the copy. This is kind of like a modern day Chain Lightning, and I really like the design here. First off, you used hybrid mana correctly, which seems to be very difficult for people in this subreddit. And secondly, I really like that the creature you control can fight another creature, including another one you control. That's not usually going to be very helpful mechanically, but I really like the flavor of in a bar fight, you might accidentally end up throwing a punch at one of your friends. The power level seems fine here since it's basically a prey upon with a mana and targeting leniency, but allowing your opponent to pay 2 to be able to cast a copy of it is a downside. And I just realized it says then any other player may pay 2 to cast a copy of it, which would mean that in a multiplayer game, you could cast it and then somebody else could cast it targeting that same player's creatures, and then another person could cast it and back and forth, so you could all team up on one person to destroy their whole board if you had enough bigger creatures. So I might change it to say the second targeted creature's controller may pay 2 if they do copy the spell, but that wording isn't super precise and, it's not probably a big deal. Then number 3 for this week, we have
My cabbages!
A single green mana for a 1/1 creature human peasant. When Cabbage Merchant enters the battlefield, create 3 food tokens. Exile them at the beginning of the next end step. This is a really cool card because it provides so much value, but it's so temporary that you have to be able to use it quickly to get the value out of it. This synergizes really well with Feasting Troll King, Giant Opportunity, or Savvy Hunter, and I'm sure you can find other ways of using 3 artifacts for a single green mana. This almost feels like a red card because it provides such temporary value, but seeing as the value is mostly life gain, that doesn't really fit in red very well. My only critique is that when the tokens are exiled, I think you should have to sacrifice a creature for each token exiled this way because
Off with their heads! 1 for each head of cabbage!
For number 2, we have Form of the Gluttonous One. 3 black for an enchantment. When Form of the Gluttonous One enters the battlefield, your life total becomes 1. Whenever a creature dies, double your life total, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay any number of life. Draw a card for each 3 life paid this way. Paying 5 mana to set your life total to 1 is very risky if your opponent has a gut shot or basically anything else that deals a single damage in their hand. But as the 60-second rule of acquisition says,
the riskier the road, the greater the profit.
True.
And profit you will. Once this is out, you only need 5 creatures to die to put your life total all the way up to 32, which is pretty healthy, and you could definitely start paying life to draw cards. In an Aristocrats style deck where this would be right at home, this would be super easy to achieve, especially in today's standard or much more fun historic. Activating a Priest of Forgotten Gods, for example, will double your life total 3 times. And if you have a sacrifice engine online, you can always sacrifice a creature in response to your opponent dealing you damage, which will double your life total, making it very difficult for them to kill you once you've gotten above a decent threshold. And number 1 we have for this week is All Dogs Go to Heaven. For white, an enchantment. Whenever a dog or wolf creature dies, if that creature isn't an angel, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control, except it has flying and is an angel in addition to its other types. This is much better than the Mach 1 version of this card, which was made before Core Set 21 came out, which was All Hounds Go to Heaven. Thank God for the errata. I love cute cards like this because reading through it the first time it seems like, aw, when dogs die, no, they come back as an angel. But in reality, we all know this is just going in an Aristocrats style deck where the intention is to kill the dog twice. Sorry, old yeller. That's all for this week. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and remember to always tip your cabbage merchants because we know they've been through a lot.